What's going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today, I'm going to talk to you about SoundHound. I want to go over some of the current data points, what shorts have been doing, as well as what's really been plaguing SoundHound from breaking higher. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. And with that said, let's get right to it. So on Friday, it did go up 1.4%, a fair amount of volume, so 14.8 million shares being traded, 29.5 is the average. So when it comes to SoundHound, as I've said in the past, it is a good hybrid stock. Kind of has multiple different levels to it. So it is a squeeze play, which right now it is at all-time high numbers. I'm going to talk about that in a second. It's also an AI play and a big momentum play. And sometimes they work alongside each other, sometimes not. And you can kind of just look at the volume. So whenever there is a huge inflow of capital getting in, it tends to go up. So, of course, like I said, the momentum play, you need a lot of capital getting in. And it's been a while since you've seen a lot of institutions paying attention to it. So, on average, roughly about 8, maybe 9 transactions, a little bit more on a daily basis. This is all being done on the secondary market and is only above $100,000, meaning AKA big larger institutions and big money. So in order for a momentum play to flourish, you need capital. And the market's just been iffy, very, very iffy right now. And when it comes down to the AI play, most recently with NVIDIA's earnings, there was going to be a good understanding that whatever happened to NVIDIA was going to trickle down to SoundHound. And it actually did look like that pre-market, because NVIDIA at the time was up, I think it was like 7% pre-market, and SoundHound was up 3.5%. So it kind of looked like it was going to piggyback. The broader market ended up selling off, thus pulling SoundHound down. But still, it goes to show that SoundHound, it wants to go up. It just, institutions didn't really believe it was justified. And you can kind of see on the 21st, institutions were selling rather than buying. So they were more worried about geopolitical issues rather than NVIDIA earnings, and I guess just it piggybacking off of that. So that's kind of the basis of what's been really moving SoundHound, just lack of capital, and plus as well, lack of news. So there hasn't been any news from the company itself, aside from their recent earnings, which, mind you, is fairly positive, at least kind of good baby steps. But still, I'm going to go over all the data points and things that you need to know. There was a pretty good article that just came out today, in fact. So it goes over right at the top, 7 stocks to buy under $10, and that's for May 2024. Just came out early this morning at 4 a.m. So lo and behold, SoundHound is stock number 1. So in here it goes over just what they generally do. But it says the stock was valued at nearly $9 per share this year, but it pulled back because of the short report and blah, blah, blah. They do bring up their earnings though. And so it says here that it is estimated to be between the 65 to 77 million for this year as far as revenue. And I have been looking at the estimates done by analysts, and it actually does match that. So you can kind of see the earnings per share and everything, which they did miss on their recent earnings, but they did beat on their revenue. And if you kind of look at 2024 so far, what analysts have for expectations, it's actually a little bit higher than 77. It's around 85 million. But even looking just at this general chart, you can kind of see that analysts are expecting bigger and better things to come from SoundHound. This last quarter, so Q1, was kind of the low expectations. So initially, it looks like around 10.1 million was the consensus among all the analysts, came in at 11.59. So looking, for instance, at Q4, it is estimated to be around 25.74 million. So all in all, like, the article is 100% on point. SoundHound is more of a good hybrid stock, but the fundamental business is actually growing. And yeah, so I think right now it could really piggyback off of the whole AI movement right now, which aside from that though, SoundHound does actually have a lot of good opportunity to hit up a lot of the big automakers, assuming their deal with Stellantis goes through and it works well. And then yeah, it could hit up Tesla. Imagine like this partnership with Tesla, if that ever did come true, that would be absolutely epic. Hit up all the EVs, Lucid, Rivian, and everyone and their dog. I think this would be a very, very good thing. And plus would really just completely explode the stock price. because it is heavily shorted, mind you, because 22.78% of the free float is being shorted. Just looking on the actual chart itself, getting rid of all of this unnecessary crap, you do see it is at all-time highs. I did a video roughly here and I said it was at all-time highs, and then we had that kind of squeeze and whatever else. But like I said, this is kind of interesting that shorts are continuing to double down. So 22.78% of the free float is being shorted. 66.26 million shares overall are being shorted. It doesn't show cost to borrow because the market is closed right now, but we can look at Interactive Brokers. Previously, it was around 36.43. They tend to offer it on the low end. So again, it probably is a little bit higher than that. So 36 or 37%. And one thing as well, utilization is 100%. Short score is 78.87. So like I said, it is a squeeze play, especially looking at a lot of this information. So if the company itself was to put out some good substantial pieces of news or a partnership or something along those lines, then this stock will definitely be very, very interesting in a positive way. Looking at options, on Friday there was 1.21 million in calls, 1.05 million in puts. Sentiment wise though, 60% of all the options being done on Friday, because again today is closed, market's closed, is 60% bearish. So people were clearly just anticipating for it to continue to trend down or whatever else. I think a lot of that has to do with the technicals itself. So I'll touch on the technicals and things that you need to know. Of the call options that were purchased on Friday, there is a consensus for it to be back above 550 for this week, so expiring May 31st, 2024. And then looking at puts, you do see consensus for it to be below between 550 and 5. So in my opinion, more upside is anticipated, so the risk versus reward is very much there for SoundHound. Like I've already brought up though, these are some of the transactions that have been occurring on the secondary market. So institutions have been paying attention to SoundHound, haven't really been investing all that much. You do see a couple big transactions though over the last several trading days, 1.28 million. 1.5, 1.04, 2, and many others. So pretty interesting stuff. Dark pool though is a lot more popular. So dark pool is linked to shorting and as well as larger institutions. So this is where shorts have been hiding a lot of their transactions and whatever else. So yeah, kind of interesting stuff. But on the actual chart itself, so with it closing on Friday at 506, it is trading between this pivot and this R1, which kind of, if you take a step back in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks, it's actually doing fairly well. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. 456 is going to be that next strong support, and then $5.49 is going to be that next strong resistance slash target. And that's actually been like flirted with for the last 2 weeks, give or take. So that is going to be something to really watch for. So if it does and is able to get above that this upcoming week, then just anticipate for $6 to be the next target. And on the actual chart itself, this has been a option trader's dream. A very volatile stock such as SoundHound, but trading within a set range. You can kind of see it's just been doing nothing and that it's overdue for a very nice breakout. And like I said, even if you kind of take a step back and compare it to a lot of other growth stocks, it's been holding its gains. So right now it is just trading between that 50-day moving average and that central boiling band, and it's been trading since looks like May the 2nd. Continuously between that. It is getting wedge bound, so this week is going to be a very big deciding week whether it does break out higher or potentially if it does break into the and starts to trade between these 2 points right here. So this week is going to be a very, very interesting week, and it is kind of getting squeezed or compressed down. So something is going to happen this week most likely, and in my opinion, given the circumstances of what is coming out this week, then it might be more oriented towards the upside. Because for this upcoming week, you do have GDP as well as PCE numbers coming out. I'll give you a quick overview of that. So for this week, you do have on Thursday GDP as well on Friday PCE. Feds are going to be looking at those two data points and kind of correlating it with rate cuts, and rate cuts are going to be one big factor that does fuel the AI market, growth stocks, and everyone and their dog. So in reality, if those two data points are positive for this week, that could be that deciding factor to cause it to get back into possibly squeeze mode and back into the 6s, 7s, 8s, and whatever else. So let me know your thoughts on SoundHound. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Hopefully everyone, at least the Americans, are having a good day off and long weekend and all the other fun jazz. One final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo. Simply sign up for a new account, throw $100 at it, and they give you 7 fractional shares of the 𝗪𝗧𝗛. So pretty kick-ass deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.